happy that you have joined me today to understand what psychology is. The premise for this lecture is that today I will be covering a few basic concepts of psychology, and I'm taking a primarily Western viewpoint to discuss the basic concepts, the nature, as well as the goals of psychology. I'm Dr. Anjali Kedari. I teach psychology at the undergraduate level in Abida Inamdar Senior College. It's a college, reputed college in Pune city. Alright, so psychology, as you can see in this slide, is a combination of two words, psyche and logos. Logos means study of. So psychology is a study of psyche. In ancient times, psyche was a word that meant the soul. So psychology began with the study of soul. However, in the present day, we take psychology as the study of behavior and mental processes. In behavior, we do include the behavior of human beings and animals. For comparative purposes, we include animals. So, there is another word in the term that you see on the slide, science. Why science? Because we all know that psychology is studied in the discipline of humanities and social sciences. So remember that science is a broad term that includes the approach that people take to study a particular phenomenon or a concept. That approach has certain characteristics. So science is systematic, it is objective, it is standardized, it takes observations in a particular format, in a particular manner, and that is why it is called as standardized. It includes certain theories, that is, our understanding of connections, and it includes hypotheses, our guesses as to why those connections are there in that particular manner. So psychology is the science of behavior. So what exactly do we mean by behavior? So behavior includes all the overt, observable, that can be easily seen. Right? So overt, observable actions and reactions of people. Broadly, we will call it all the responses that people have to the various events which are happening in the world. Sometimes the people are the stimulus. They themselves cause certain responses in others. So we will study that too. So the basic equation that psychology studies is that of stimulus, an event, and a response to that event. All the stimuli as well as the responses are recorded. They can be observed very easily, and they are studied in psychology. What are mental processes? So mental processes are those hidden, or we call them covert. All the hidden activities which cannot be directly seen. By hidden we mean they cannot be directly observed. They cannot be directly measured. So they have to be studied as inferences, as implications. Alright, so mental processes like thinking or motivation are involved in the study in psychology. Now I congratulate you for taking an interest in psychology, because apart from this definition of psychology, it involves so much more. Psychology is an academic discipline. It is also an applied field. It helps you to understand more about human beings, their interactions with each other. Sometimes it helps you to help the others in distress, of course, after a lot of training. But more importantly for me as a teacher, I believe that psychology will help my students to understand themselves, to understand their own patterns, to understand their own emotions, their own that is feelings, their own behavior, actions, and the reason behind them, the thinking that goes behind them. So broadly, we will be able to understand others, but we will be able to understand ourselves more. You will be able to become a better student because you will understand the learning process the memory process. You will be able to become a better human being because you will understand why and how other people do the things that they do. But remember, you will not become a mind reader. You will not be able to understand directly what is happening in another person's mind unless that person tells you about it. Alright? Or you will have some other ways of observing that person. So we are not mind readers. But yes, we are helpers. In various ways, we enrich the lives of others, and the field psychology as an academic discipline enriches our lives. So let's go to the next slide. So what are the goals of psychology? Psychologists describe behavior and mental processes. They describe the behavior of human beings as well as animals. I have said that before. It includes observation and keeping records. And because it is a science, we keep the records in as accurate a manner as possible. We develop many tools. Some of them are called psychological tests. So we develop many tools to make these observations, right, and keep these records. So let's take an example. We want to know why our friend is behaving in a particular way in class. What do we do first? We first observe that friend. We see what he or she have been doing. How are they coming on time to their classes? Are they showing happiness? What types of emotions are they showing? Right, more of happiness or more of sadness or something else. So we keep a record for several days. Then we wonder why is our friend behaving in that particular way. So we try to explain. So is it because the friend is not very keen or not very motivated to attend a particular class? Is it because he is finding the subject difficult? Or is it something that is making him uncomfortable in the presence of others? So we try to understand the person, we try to explain the person's behavior after we have keenly kept a record of all the various actions of that person in different situations. Now what we do is we try to predict. We are not astrologers, but we will say that if this keeps happening, then my friend will show these particular behaviors in the future too, and it might harm my friend's prospects in terms of, let's say, academics or whatever it is. So we try to predict, we try to guess or form a hypothesis, an assumption that when these things are going to continue happening, my friend might face this situation. And then we seek to influence our friend, we seek to control the reactions or responses of our friend, either by making him aware of it, bringing it to the notice of others or the adults, of course with the friend's permission. I'm just giving you a broad example. Please try to understand that there are various other issues involved also, like privacy and confidentiality and everything. But first we might try to talk to a friend about it. Yes. So when we trying to talk to a friend, we are trying to bring in some control, some difference. We are trying to make in some difference to the situation. So generally it is called as intervention. So the goals of psychology are four: DEPC: description, explanation, prediction, and control. So they are very important, and all psychologists, whichever branch they belong to, generally go about doing these particular activities. In research, there are times when people, that is psychologists, will stop at the first stage itself, which is describing behavior as it is, without trying to intervene, without trying to find out the causality or the links or associations. We describe behavior as it is. That in itself could be helpful, because when people read these descriptions that have been done in an unbiased, error-free manner, people will get many insights into this. Alright, so it is very important. Don't feel that just describing is a very narrow or short kind of a goal. It is the basis of all the other goals. So proper description, proper observation is very important. Some may stop, then go on to explain. Others might go on to predict, and then some others might take it up to intervention level also. So one of my friends has done a research on understanding the changes which are brought into stress and anxiety levels of students after doing yogasana. All right, so there were a particular, for example, Surya Namaskars. So he has taken Surya Namaskars as a unit, and he has found that if students, first he described it, he found out whether students were facing stress and anxiety. He identified those students who were facing stress and anxiety with the help of several psychological tests and descriptions of the people. Once he did that, what has he done? He has described the students as they are. What exactly are they going through? Then he asked for volunteers amongst these students who had shown high stress and anxiety to visit a particular center and do Surya Namaskars for a given period of time. He also described their blood pressure and other this at the same time, their heart rate, etc. So all this is a part of description, not just psychological tests, but also physical tests that we can involve. The breathing rate and all that we can involve in the description part. Then he said that if these keep happening, the blood pressure, the stress, the anxiety levels of the students will be at a higher level, and that can affect the students in many different areas of life. This is happening, he explained. So there are certain associations that he had assumed, and he said that if we work on the bodily aspects, if we do Surya Namaskars in a particular way, then it might help them to reduce their stress and anxiety. So this was his prediction, a hypothesis, and then he did an intervention, and you will read more about the research online if you Google it. But yes, there are several ways in which we can help people to reduce their issues or challenges through intervention. Let's go to the various fields of modern psychology. Broadly, there are two areas, basic areas of psychology and applied areas of psychology. The basic areas of psychology are the domain of psychology that are involved in the generation of new knowledge, where upon which applications are built. So we have to find out, we have to do basic research in many areas, upon which we develop then theories, and from the theories we can then lead to changing certain things. So let's say in the goals, description and explanation could be in a part of the basic areas of psychology, and all clinical counseling, educational psychology that you have heard of are a part of the applied areas of psychology. In basic area, there are some fields which straddle both. That is, social psychology, for example, has a theoretical, a basic approach, as well as an applied approach in applied social psychology. Similarly, clinical psychology will have a theoretical basis in abnormal psychology, that is, the study of mental illnesses or abnormal disorders. Let's go to the next slide. Scientific methods. So psychology uses certain methods like observation, surveys, case studies, and experimental methods to study the various phenomena which are related to human beings. More about this, I will go to the next slide. So science is the use of systematic observation of phenomena in an effort to detect orderly relationships, we call them laws, governing the associations or linkages in variables. Variables, anything that can change, anything that can take a different quantity or quality. Alright, it involves description as its most simple tool and experimentation as its most complex tool. So there are some examples of socially relevant researches. We will be studying many of these in our further advanced study modules. So more about socially relevant researches, more about scientific methods in our next series. Thank you so much, and please join me for further lectures on this YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the channel and keep in touch. Please take the notifications also, and if you have liked it, please like and comment in the comment section. Thank you so much.